Hi all, I will walk you over an SAP assignment where we will be creating a visual composer model using enterprise services, and this case will introduce the concept of clustered data structures. Our um assignment is on creating purchase order using enterprise services. To work on this assignment, you have to log on to Visual Composer using your ID and password, and then you have to create a new model and you have to name it LU, your login ID underscore purchase order. So let me do that. I get into new. Okay, so I will call it LU002 underscore purchase order. Okay, and then I will be using, okay, local repository, and you use the previously created development component. Okay, so let's look at here. Our we have a different development component. It's called LU006 NW6. Either way, I think I'm fine. So let me just keep my previous development component. You can keep your previous development component also. S5350002 NW6. Okay, and I say okay. Okay. So now I'm into the new model LU002 underscore purchase order. Then I go to search. Then for my provider I choose service registry. Then I search, and my key term in this example or in this assignment is purchase order and then an star. Okay, I click on next. Okay, now I have to select one of the links. So a list of enterprise services which will contain purchase order will be returned. Select purchase order by ID query response in. So purchase order by ID query response in. So this is the first one. I have to select that. I click on next. Okay. Look at here. It's asking me for my username and password. If it asks you, please put in ES. What is the username and password? SAP underscore ESW. SAP underscore ESW, and then this is called password is ESWork123. So ESWork123. It may or may not ask you for this ID and password. If it asks you, provide one. If it does not, just move on. Okay, then I have to highlight that, and then I have to finish. Okay, so I will highlight that and I'll finish. Now I have to drag it from the right hand side and drop it into my workplace. Okay, now I have to define input and output ports. So let me see what I have to do. I have to expand the input port, and I have to check all three boxes on the left ending with purchase order ID. Okay, so I will expand input ports. Okay, and let's see what I have to do. So I have to make sure I have check mark on all these three, and then I have to just select purchase order ID. I'll do that. So I have all of these things are selected, and then I just select purchase order ID. Okay. Okay, and then I expand all output ports, and I will expand all output ports till the very end. Okay, then what do I have to do? So it has a cluster data structure, please note that. Okay, so what I have to do is the expand outputs, all fields should be selected by default. Okay, uh, if not, then we have to make it, you have to select it. And note that outputs uses a cluster data structure. The purchase order object contains areas that detail the specifics about the PO. This includes an item object. An item object contains details about line items within the purchase order. So I just want to make sure that everything is selected including item, and then I just have to do OK, and the service will appear. Okay, now what I have to do is move the service down, and then I have to select the compose tab and drag the panel onto the workspace above the service. So I will pull it down, then I go to compose, then I click drag panel, bring it up. Okay, now I have to right click the panel and select vertical flow from the menu. So I right click the panel, select vertical flow. Okay, I've done that. So after that, what I have to do is I have to drag the input port to panel and then click on form view and then define data. So I have to click the input port into panel, choose form view, and then I have to define data. Now what do I have to define? I have to select purchase order ID and click close. Okay, so I'll select purchase order ID and I'll click close. Then I have to double click the input form and change the title to input form. So it has to be input form, which is not much. So I just have to change S1 to input form. Okay, what else? Then I have to select panel, expand it large enough to have two more form objects. Then from the output port, I again select the form view, I define data. Okay, so I first expand the panel, then from the output I drag it here, select form view, and then I define data. Okay, now what do I have to define? I have to first deselect everything, and then I have to choose. Okay, first I deselect everything, then within under creation user account ID, okay, I have to choose creation user account ID. So I have to choose this one, then I close. What else I have to do? Under purchase order, I have to select creation date. So I will define data here. Sorry. Okay. So I under purchase order, I have to click on creation date. Okay. Then under purchase order, I have to select item, and then under item I have to select price. So define data, under purchase order I have to select item, under item I have to select price, then under price I have to select total amount, and within total amount I have to check both total amount and currency code. Okay, so basically this is what I have to do. So within price, within price I have to click on total amount, and then I have to check both total amount and currency code, and then I have to click close. So I'm come here and then I click close. Okay, then I double click on the output form and then change the title to results form. Okay, so I call it results form. Okay, looks like after that I have to drag the output onto the workspace and select the table view. Okay, I have to do it again and choose table view. So I just do it again and choose table view. Okay, now in the table view, when I define data, I have to first deselect, and then within purchase order item quantity I check quantity. Okay, so first I deselect all, then within purchase order item quantity I check quantity. Close. Okay, then select item, within item description and check description. So once again data, description and check description. Okay, now then double click the table form and change the title to results table. So this is, I have to change it to results table. Okay, now basically I have to save my work, and then I have to click on the layout view. So I just save my work, click on the layout. Okay, the layout, you know that things have to be changed, the labels have to be changed. So what do I do is double click the only input form field and change its label to purchase order. Let's look at here. So let's see what's happening here. So under input form I need to change these to purchase order. Okay, so under input form I need to change these to purchase order. Okay, then what happens, I have to look at the labels, how I need to change them. I have to make creation date, user account, total amount and currency code. So creation date will become creation date, currency code will be currency code, total amount will be total amount, and then what is this, this will be creation, no, user account. Okay, so this is user account. Okay, I believe then we have to rearrange these things. Creation date, user account, total amount, currency code. So creation date, total amount, user account, currency code. Creation date, user account, total amount, currency code. We have to do that. Okay, before I believe there is some work left. Let's see. No, basically I'm done. And then uh, let me just go to back to design view and then deploy it again. Deploy. Okay. Then run it from the flex LU002 purchase order. Okay. So this is basically my output, and then I will test it with data. So I will test my model entering 4500012164 as my purchase order number. Okay, so I will put this 4500012164 and submit, and that would pull up my backend purchase order, which was created on 10/9/2001. You can see the calendar here, and the total amount is you can see the calculator here, 100,000. User account is Riddle, and look at the currency code USD, and the results table shows that it's an elevator and the quantity was 1. Okay, so now what do I have to do? I have to expand my calendar, and then I have to take a screenshot of this, and I have to submit. So LU001 underscore purchase order input form purchase order result form results table. So make sure that everything is there. So it's LU002 purchase order. So your login number should be here. In input form purchase order number results from results table, everything is fine. It shows the currency code. So I do print screen. I open my Word document. Okay, before that I have to remember, I have to click on my calendar. So I have like this, then I take a print screen, and then I open my Word document and I paste it here. Okay, this is identical to what you have been asked to submit. This is it, and so also, yeah, exactly the same thing. You submit. Okay, so that's basically it. That's the end of this assignment.